Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to your essay writing and presentation skills class. Today is your 10th lecture, and in today's lecture we are going to talk about the critical essay skills. We are going to deeply study that what critical essay is, and we are going to see that how critical essay or how you can produce one critical essay. To begin with, let's quickly recap that what we have done in our previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we have talked about in detail about the definition essay. We have learned that how to write one definition essay yourself and how you can become one definition essay writer. Then we have discussed some steps for writing a definition essay. There are some steps that you are supposed to follow, keeping in mind that how are you supposed to write the introduction, how are you supposed to go with the body parts, and then how are you supposed to write the closing paragraph of your essay. Then I also discussed with you that how you can select one topic for your definition essay, and I hope that you have selected one and you have practiced writing definition essay on your own. Then we also discussed some key points to be considered while you are writing a definition essay. Then there are some do's and don'ts of how much you are successful or how much you are capable enough of producing or making or creating your own unique definition of some word, some place, or maybe some technical term or some scientific term that is there. Then there are some common mistakes that everybody makes while writing the definition essay, and they were also thoroughly discussed in your previous lecture. We also give one example of every essay type as to make sure that you know the proper pattern of how to write one essay with so much vigor and so much attraction that the reader is going to get the complete message whatsoever essay type you are writing for them. So that was all about the previous lecture. Today's lecture is all about the critical skills or critical essay. Basically, critical essay analyzes the strengths and weaknesses and methods of someone else's work. Now, as it is also written on the slide as well, that critique is something that elaborates or that targets the positive and the negative aspects of some work, maybe some method or maybe some personality. But critical essay has to do, has something to do to pick up the strengths and the weaknesses of any piece of literature, maybe any topic, any personality, or so on and so forth. So like the criticism, this critical essay is going to not only it's going to talk about the good points, that is the strengths, or it's not only going to talk about the weak points, that are the weaknesses. It's thoroughly going to talk about all the good and bad qualities of the piece of literature, maybe of a personality, whatsoever the topic you select for putting on your critique on. So this is how you define one critical essay. A critical essay can be written about another essay. It can also be a critique of any other piece of writing. That can be essay, that can be story, that can be a book, a poem, movie, or any work of art that is there to be elaborated, and you want to pick up the strengths and weaknesses of that very piece of literature or that very piece of art. Now there are some examples that you can very well see on the slide as well. A critical essay may analyze how Shakespeare presents the character Hamlet in his play Hamlet. Now if you see the example and reread it again, how Shakespeare has presented the character of Hamlet in his very famous novel, in his very famous drama play Hamlet. Now if you see, if you are going to critically review that or critically see that character of Hamlet in his play Hamlet, we would try to dig out and we would try to find out the strengths and weaknesses of that very character in his play, in Shakespeare's play. So we would see that how Hamlet was, what were the strengths of the Hamlet character and what were the weaknesses of the Hamlet's character. To be or not to be was his problem. So we are trying to we would try to see in our essay that how successful or how successfully Shakespeare has painted this character in his play. Then the second example is the strengths and weaknesses of movie Bol. Now all of you know that there was a great movie being produced in Pakistan with the name Bol, which basically talked about that how that Hakim Saab or that Molvi Saab had wanted to have a baby boy, wanted to have a boy with him who can actually support him, and in that very requirement, or in that very belief of that he would have a boy, he had so many girls to take care of. I think he had 6 daughters then, and he was still trying for a baby boy. So this is how the director of the movie has produced such a story in which the female or the daughters of that Hakim Saab had to suffer because they had nowhere to go, and the Hakim Saab didn't let them go to the school, and he didn't let them see their neighbors, or in short, or let's say that he didn't let them even speak in front of him. So they were lacking, or they were kind of poor people. The poverty element was also there, and they were hand to mouth kind of people who were living or who were spending their lives in a very hard way. So the things that have been portrayed in the movie, those things which appeal to you, you are going to pick up the strengths, how and why they appeal to you, and then of course you are going to pick up the weak points, that where were the flaws in that very movie Bol. So this is how you pick up the strengths and the weaknesses of a movie. Also you can also pick up any novel, you can also pick up any drama, any short story. Maybe you can pick up any other essay and try to see that if that is a let's say if the essay is a definition essay, if you put, or if you start writing a critique on that, and you create your own critical essay, you would try to see that how successful the writer was, and what were the strengths of the writer to convey that very element of definition, that one he wanted to produce in his essay, or how and what were the weak points, that how much he was not successful to create one definition on his own. So this is how you try to find out the strengths and weaknesses, or maybe good or the bad points of any piece of literature. Then the use of color in Monet's painting Sunflowers. There are so many other paintings like Mona Lisa, and then Anna Molaka's paintings. Then there are so many painters who have painted in a very great way. So if you try to put on any critique, or any if you want to write a critical essay on any one of them, that's going to really be an awesome essay, because you are the one who is going to put your personal maybe a critical essay can be the combination of your personal thoughts, as well as you have read any article related to that very topic, and you try to put in the references and the relations of other thoughts into your essay. So this is how critical essay is, basically to cut it down and to tell you what exactly and how exactly you define the critical essay. In other words, you can say that critical essay is that kind of paper in which the writer tries to pick up the strengths and weaknesses of someone else's work. So that is how we define the critical essay. Now let's try to see that how to write one critical essay. A critical essay is a piece of academic writing, as all of other essays are the piece of academic writing. We call our essays academic piece of paper. It's usually written in the form of a classic composition. Now this classic composition is something that carries an introduction, that full body, and summarizing the conclusion. Now critical essay has got one structure that can be different from the other structures, because once you start writing a critique on something, you are supposed to focus on two things. The first one is these good ones, and the other one is the bad ones. The first one is the strengths, and the other ones are the weak points that you are supposed to focus in your essay. So your essay would automatically become a classic interpretation or a classic composition for the reader. Now, a critical essay also provides interpretation and analysis of a set text. Now, as we are saying again and again, that the critical essay is a critique which pinpoints the strengths and weaknesses, the good and the bad aspects of any other or someone else's work. So, we can also say that in other words, it's an interpretation or it's an analysis of someone else's work that you are doing on your own piece of paper. A critical essay must be written with an aim or purpose. Now, your aim should be focused. You should be focused at what really I want to, and how really I want to, pick out the strengths and the weaknesses of that very piece of or that very work of other. The critical essay is often, or it often proposes a sound argument. Now, there is one argument, as you can very well see, that we have also discussed in our previous example, that the Shakespeare's character in his play Hamlet, the main character Hamlet has been discussed. So the focus was clear, and then again we discussed that picking up the strengths and the weaknesses of the movie Bowl, and then we also discussed that picking up the or critically reviewing the Monet's painting Sunflowers. So this is how we are going to see that how your argument is sound enough to to be introduced in your introduction paragraph. Now, although frequently confused with a review, a critical essay is more similar to a formal essay. Now, we won't call it a review, that is, reviewing someone else's work. That's some kind of or somewhat similar to the formal essay, because a review does not carry any specific structure, or that does not follow a process. We call a critical essay an essay because it has got, or it's somewhat similar to your formal essay, because it has got all those elements which are there in any kind of essay, any kind of formal essay that you want to write. It should incorporate scholarly observations, first of all, with all facts correctly referenced. Now, your critical review is something that is written or that carries your personal opinion. How is critical essay different? Because it carries the scholarly observations as well, and they are properly referenced. Now, what does that properly reference mean? That you pick up some kind of comments or any kind of articles in which your topic has been already discussed. You pick up those quotes or those sayings of those renowned people who have already worked on it, and then you put those citations in your essay, and you properly quote them, and you properly refer them, and you properly insert the references for them. Now, for putting the references, as we have already discussed in detail in our previous lectures, that how you can put in the references in your essay by inserting the MLS style, of course, and then the Harvard style system. So this is how critical essay is somewhat different from your reviews, because that's more kind of a formal writing in which you have the margin of quoting someone else's work, as well as you can quote down the scholarly observations which are properly referenced. I hope you are getting what I'm saying, and I hope you are understanding each and every element of critical essay. As all other essays and all other types of essays, the critical essay also have some steps to follow that we are going to see. The first step being taken to write down the critical essay is a text in the form of a book, film, piece of music or play must be selected by instructor or student himself. Maybe you are given a piece of art, or maybe you are given the piece of literature by your teacher, or maybe you are asked to pick up one to write down the critique on it. The text must be read a number of times. Now, if you are given any novel to critically see or critically review, or maybe sometimes it happens that you are given a let's say a book, a film review, or sometimes you are given a piece of music to be critically seen. So what are you supposed to do is to go through that very thing a number of times to understand that what is in there. If that's a book, you are supposed to read it so many times till the time you grasp each and every information that is in there. If that's a piece of music, you have to listen to it carefully. If that's a movie, you are supposed to watch it from the critical point of view, not for enjoyment. Of course, we watch movies for enjoyment, but for this purpose that would be somewhat different. If the study concerns a film, play, or piece of music, it must be watched and listened to more than once. So you are going to observe them quickly, and you are going to observe them in depth details so that you are not going to miss out any information that you need to insert in your critical essay. Because once you will be in a position to tell others that what was there, only then you can write a good critique telling about the strengths and the weaknesses of that very film, drama, poetry, or any piece of music that you have chosen for your critical essay. So I hope that you would find one topic for yourself, or maybe your teacher is going to allocate one for yourself. Step number 1, once you have selected one particular topic, any drama, any novel, any film, any piece of music, any piece of art, or any piece of literature for the critical review, so your step number 2 would be that you are going to gather the relevant material from which references can be drawn into your critical essay. Now you are looking for some scholarly observations to be properly properly be inserted in your critical essay. Now for that, you can read some journals, you can related journals, of course. You can also read some books being written by other people. You can also read some articles, and definitely you can online search or online surf for the material that is suitable, or you can insert that in your critical essay, as long as these references are scholarly, not popular. So as long as they are or the sayings are being said by the renowned people, they will be popular and people will be happy to see them. So this is how you are going to do step number 2 after you are done with your selection of the topic. Your main purpose, step number 2, would be that you are going to try to find out those possible references which have been written by the scholarly figures that you think are suitable enough to be inserted into your essay. So I hope that you are getting along with me and you are understanding that what steps you are supposed to take while writing one critical essay. Now, as I have moved on to the next slide, that is your step number 3. It's written that notes must be written about the text in question form and an argument must be constructed. So remember, we have been talking about the 5 W's and 1 H. Now once you are going to ask your the questions about the particular topic that you have selected for your critical essay, once you will try to answer them, right, try to write the full-fledged question, as you have also seen some of the examples of writing the full-fledged questions in your pre-writing techniques. Try to write the full-fledged questions so that you can produce a very strong argument that can be discussed throughout your essay. So once you are in a position to produce one very strong argument based on the questions that you are asking from time to time related to the topic that you have selected, you will be in a very better position to tell that how you can pick up the good and bad aspects of, or good and bad qualities of that very piece of art, piece of literature, or piece of music that you have selected for your critical essay. A stand must be taken by the writer in favor of a particular view. Now that the topic is yours and you are going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses, so you should be bold enough to take a stand in front of the audience for whom you are writing, to tell them that whatsoever you are writing is authenticized and it is being properly referred, or it is being properly referenced. So this is how you can make your essay look better, shape better, and make better for your group of people, for your targeted audience. Now your step number 4 would be that the body in the form of 3 or more paragraphs must be written first. Now as our practice in the previous races was also that we did not write introduction and conclusion in the beginning. We have left them for the end. Our main purpose was to write the body paragraphs first, in which each paragraph was talking about the different idea that was related to the main topic of your whole essay. Each paragraph must discuss one point that supports your argument. Now once you had been asking questions from yourself, or you have been trying to make some points or produce a strong argument, maybe you come up with 3, 4 or 5 strong arguments based on the that have been developed to pick up the strengths and the weaknesses of the piece of literature. So you can make 2, 3 or 4 paragraphs based on those arguments. Your first sentence of your paragraph would be the topic sentence, in which you would announce the argument, whatsoever the argument is all about. Then in the second, third or fourth or fifth sentences, you are going to provide the supporting details. That is going to be your middle, in which you are going to thoroughly elaborate through evidences, through factual information. Maybe you are putting the references in there as well. You are trying to support your argument that has been introduced in the topic sentence. Then in the end, you are supposed to end each paragraph by providing the closing sentence for it, that would wrap up, or that would sum up the whole paragraph in one line. Now after that you have done with writing your arguments and describing your arguments in each and every paragraph, your step number 5 would be that you are going to write a conclusion in the written text. Your conclusion is the next step that you are supposed to do once you are done with writing the paragraphs. Now your conclusion is the summing up the points, like you are summing up all the arguments in one paragraph, then summarizing the argument and giving a one sentence closing. Now that you have one major argument that has been elaborated through different sub points, now all of those sub points will again merge back to the first main thought that was your topic, or that was your main argument of the whole essay, and then you are going to wrap up your complete essay with one line. As we write all other essays, critical essay is also done in the same way. The only difference is that you write proper, or you quote proper references of the scholarly figures, the renowned personalities who have worked on them. Maybe they have written them in the journals, articles, the related material online that is available, or so you can find them anywhere. So pick up your copies and pick up your pens and get ready to write one critical essay, because we are very close to how to write one critical essay. And as you are learning, I'm sure that you are going to write one after I am going to end my lecture here, and you are going to start writing and select one topic for your critical essay. So let's try to see that how many steps we have done so far. The topic selection, or picking up some argument. You select your topic on your own, or maybe your teacher assign it to you. Then you try to see that which other references or which other people have already worked on your topic, and you can quote from their references. Then you try to write the body paragraphs, in which you try to elaborate that each and every argument that you have written in the form of the full-fledged questions, and you have created and developed in your pre-writing technique. Then then you try to write your conclusion paragraph, in which you try to sum up all the arguments based on the main topic or the main argument that was the attention of your essay. And in the end, you are going to your step number 6 would be that introduction was written in the end to make sure that it presents the argument clearly. Now introduction is something that takes you inside your story, or that takes you towards what you have to talk about. So you are going to make sure that you are going to write your introduction in the end. Why? Because once you are done with creating your arguments and you have written your conclusion as well, you will be in a better position to tell that what your essay is talking about and what you are going to write in this essay. It must contain a strong thesis statement that also sums up the argument. Now your thesis statement, that is your problem statement, whatsoever your argument is, whatsoever topic you have selected for your essay, you are going to tell your audience clearly that this or this topic, or this piece of literature, or this piece of music, or maybe this piece of art will be analyzed or interpreted in this critical essay, to make sure that all the strengths and weaknesses are being thoroughly discussed overall. So this is the right way of writing the introduction and right way of writing the critical essay. Your point number in your step number 7 would be the finished essay must be read a number of times for proofreading. Remember, I have discussed and I have told you this technique of proofreading so many times, that you are going to proofread your material for checking all the errors and making it free of errors. Grammar, punctuation, syntax are important because they convey the accurate meaning. Now in critical essay, your grammar is very important because your message is being conveyed through your syntax, your sentence structure. So you are going to be very careful about that. The best technique of proofreading is that you leave your writing aside for a while and then again come back to read it, so that you can get to know that again once you will read it, you will see that after a gap, once you are going to pick up your paper and trying to read that is going to help you see that what have you written so far and how you are going to, how successful are you, in conveying your thoughts to the reader. Now that we are done with all the steps that you are supposed to take care of while writing a critical essay, there are some key points to consider while you are writing one critical essay. The first thing that you are supposed to keep in mind while writing a critical essay is your audience, is your reader. Thought must be given to the kinds of readers or audiences to whom writing might be addressed by the creator of the said text. Now you are going to create one critical essay on your own, so you are supposed to keep in mind that what kind of the readers are going to read your paper, so that you can format or you can create or you can prepare your essay accordingly. So this is not very easy thing to do. You are supposed to keep in mind your audience before you are writing any critique on any piece of literature, any piece of art, or any piece of music that you have selected for your critical essay. Now there are some key points to consider that you can very well see on the slide as well. The critical essay must examine the text, question it and evaluate it. Now your critical essay must make sure that it is going to examine the text, any text or any piece of literature, any piece of art or any work of art that you have picked up to critically analyze or critically see should be examined carefully. You should question it, as we have already discussed, that you should question it, that why it has got these trends, why it is like this, why it is not like that, and so on and so forth. And then you are going to put your evaluations in it. Maybe you can take the help of other writings that have been written down in the past related to the same piece of work that you are trying to work on. The writer must state what kind of text it is and whether it achieves the aim of its creator. Now once you are going to critically see that what kind of a paper it is, what kind of a writing it is, you are going to critically examine it, question it and evaluate it. You would also be in a position to tell that what kind of a text it is. Is it informative? Is it persuasive? It is written for entertainment. So what kind of a piece of text it is, because you are going to critically analyze each and every word being written in the whole piece of literature or piece of music or any piece of art. So you are going to critically see and question that text to critically evaluate it. That is, does it entertain, does it educate, instruct, or does it inform? So these are different kinds that you are going to question that what kind of the text it is. They are going to help you understand that how, from which angle or from which point of view you are going to then take your essay further. Now, a suitable combination of main and secondary points must be used in 3 or more body paragraphs which contain the central thrust of the essay. Now that we have been talking about that you have one strong argument, one strong question to be discussed in your essay, there are some sub-points that you are going to make, and all those sub-points or the sub-arguments will be critically evaluated in every paragraph that is being discussed in the main body, because that's the main gist of or the main thrust of your essay. Ideas, notions and concepts taken from the initial set of notes must be reworked to produce a fine argument. Now once you have selected ideas, concepts related to your piece of work, you are going to not discard them in your pre-writing. You are going to take them along till you produce your final draft, because some of them which you have omitted or some of them which you have left out, you can work on them later in your final draft. So this is how you are not going to produce, you are not going to discard them, and only in this possible way you can initiate or produce a fine piece of critical essay. Then there are some persuasive techniques. Another thing that you can do, your essay must be, or these kind of techniques while writing a critical essay must be used in an effective manner to argue, because these common techniques appeal to emotion. Now if you try to persuade the attention of the reader that why is this the strength of so and so piece of literature, only in this way you would be able to critically see, and your audience will be persuaded by whatever you have to talk about. Then the persuasive techniques also talk about or provide the evidence and fact and supported by the citation. Now if you are talking about your piece of literature or your piece of art that you are arguing about, or you are interpreting or you are analyzing, you can quote from different references which are actually factual, and maybe you are providing the evidences for that, or maybe you are providing the examples for that. So in this way you would be in a better position to tell your audience that how is it being supported by, or how a very renowned scholar or how a very renowned speaker has talked about the same thing in such way in which you also talk the same. So also stick to some sort of discipline and logic. So whatsoever you are writing should be very, very factual and should be very, very logical, because you are there to provide the accurate, the factual, the evidentiary and the related information to your audience, that is, and you are going to then produce one strong argument based on all the references, all the facts that have been published before, or that the other people have already talked about. So you would come up with your own argument about that very thing, but that would be of course supported by the proper references. So only in this manner you can persuade the attention of the reader. Maybe people might think that you are not appealing enough to appeal to their logic, but your writing would become appealing to them once you are going to insert the proper references, or once you say that some so and so scholar has said this and this about this about writing of strengths of this so and so piece of literature, and I also talk in the same way. So once you will talk in the same way as scholarly figures have already talked, this is going to give a good impression to your reader, and they are going to get impressed by you. Now there is another key point to be considered. A critical essay does not merely accept the decisions and opinions of others. Now you do not critically accept the decisions and the opinions made by others. You try to critically evaluate it on your own and try to produce your strong argument that would look different from other people. So it must question everything, analyze and propose opposite alternative views, options and attitudes. So the best way is that you put in the opposite views being said by people, and then you try to create one on your own, telling that this is what you have drawn, and this has itself become a very strong argument to actually be proven in your critical essay. Now that we are done with some key points to be remembered while you are writing a critical essay, there are some common critical styles that we are going to now discuss, on which can be used while writing one critical essay. So you may pick up one to write your critical essay as we will move on. The first style is claim and evidence style, in which you claim about some strong argument. You claim that this is the strong argument being proposed in so and so piece of literature, and then you provide the evidences related to that very claim, and you try to prove that through different evidences being uttered or being described or being analyzed in other pieces of literature by the renowned people, and then you are going to provide the references for each evidence that you write in your essay. So the critical essay must make a number of claims about the said text, as I have already mentioned, and findings made on reading it. Then these claims are then supported by the evidence found in other texts which are used as references. So first of all, you will pick up the claim that is properly founded by you, any claim that you see or any claim that you make, and then you are going to support that claim with the evidences found in the other texts, and then you are going to properly put the references for them. So that was your first style that talks about claim and which we call claim and evidence style. The second critical style is your effective style, in which is also known as the new information method. Here the writer provides the fresh research which has not yet been used by others to be discussed in the given text. So now you take help of the new information method, or you try to provide the fresh researches into your essay which are not recently being used in any fresh piece of writing. So this is another effective style. Those works which have been recently published or which have been recently researched, you can take example of those, and to make your writing style, to make your critical essay an effective critical essay. The third style of the critical essay is examination and exploration. This style looks into the fine detail of text and explores all the possible motivations, inspirations and reasons the writer or the creator might have had during the creating process. Now you try to explore and examine all those reasons and inspirations which the writer or the creator might have had during the creative process. So it try to examines your own personal capabilities or your own personal inspirations and reasons for why you have produced such argument, and how you are going to prove your claimed argument to be proven and founded. So three critical styles that we have read. The first one, in which you try to see that how you can provide the claim, and then you provide the evidences. The second one is your effective style, in which you try to put in the fresh researches, and the third style calls for examination and exploration of your inspiration and reasoning that you have used in your argument while writing one critical essay. Now that we are done with all the key points to be remembered, and then we have also talked about some of the critical styles being used in different kinds of critical essays. Now let's try to see that what are the do's that you are supposed to do while writing one critical essay. Do seek more than one fact or piece of information. Now supported by a reference for each argument made in a critical essay. Now you are not going to rely on only one reference or only on one writer that you want to refer, or you want to support your argument with. Now you have to see the number of or more than one fact or the piece of information. Now you can either visit any book, any journal, any online sources. 2 or 3 sources or 2 or 3 pieces of information should be approached to make your evidence or to make your claim strong. Use quotes when the exact words of the author are used. Now you are going to use the words, make the use of the exact words being used by any other author into your text, and then properly put the reference in that, so that you are going to strongly argue or strongly critically see or critically comment on the essay. Do describe the set text accurately to demonstrate you have read it in depth. Now you are going to describe each one point in the in-depth detail as to make your reader sure that you have this command of, or you have read this text thoroughly. Do make it a point to understand that a critical essay is not one long stream of negative criticism. Now sometimes people confuse the criticism that this person is criticizing me. People usually take criticism as picking up only the negative points. However, criticism is not defined in that way. Criticism, as I've said earlier, has something to do with picking up the positive and negative aspects of any personality, any piece of literature, any piece of art, or any piece of music. So the thumb rule is, the thing that you are supposed to do is to make it a point to understand that your critical essay is not a long debate talking about only the negative aspects of any work of art. So you are going to make sure that you are also going to talk about the positive aspects of any piece of literature as well. Do use opposing arguments and approach a view from both places. Now there are 2 opposing arguments. One says this is good, one says this is bad. You are supposed to approach the positive one as well as the negative one, and then draw your own conclusion and your own argument that why this thing stands maybe in the middle, why this thing is bad, or why this thing is good. So if you make that thing good, that is your argument. If you make that thing bad, that is your argument. So based on the opposite opinions, you are going to create one on your own. Do paraphrase accurately and effectively when interpreting references from books and journals. So you are going to paraphrase accurately and effectively. If you are going to quote from the text as it is, make sure that you are going to insert that into the inverted commas. If you don't want to quote the reference, try to make sure that you explain it well, because you have understood it well in the other words. Do invite opposition to your argument and state your knowledge of differing opinions on the given text. Now invite the participation of opposition. Maybe you can read different articles, maybe you can talk to different people, or maybe you can, while proofreading, you can give your paper to someone else who can calls for the opposition, that why have you named so and so work of art the best piece of art, and picks up some kind of the negative qualities, and you again have to ponder and wonder that what have you written and why have you written, and then your arguments should be strong enough to convince that reader that whatsoever you have written is right. So these were some do's that you are supposed to do. Now there are some don'ts that you are not supposed to do. The first one says that don't make categorical statements without the support of referenced facts and quotes. Now you are not going to draw the categorical statements without providing the referenced facts and quotes. If you are going to do that, your writing won't be appealing, or that won't appeal to the logic of your reader. Don't lose track of your argument and go off at irrelevant departure. Now you are moving in one direction, even if you are taking the negative and the positive qualities along, they should go parallel and they should support your argument till the next till the last point. So do not lose, or do not get aside from your track. Keep the track of your argument and try to move in one position whatsoever target you have to be achieved. Then don't introduce new material in the concluding paragraph. Whatsoever you have to describe, you are supposed to describe that into the middle portion. All concepts and ideas must be elaborated upon in the body parts. So your main body, your body parts should elaborate all the new material. Any new idea related to the argument should be elaborated with the help of topic sentence, supporting details, and the closing sentence of one paragraph. So this is how you are going to keep the paragraph unity, and then you are going to keep the coherence and cohesion in your whole critical essay. Don't actively or negatively criticize the said text in a subjective manner. Now criticism is yours own, but you are not going to get subjective. Try to be objective based on the providing the proper references and quotes and other opposing ideas being said by others. Although your opinion will be obvious because this is your critical essay, but from the way you form your argument, writing conversational controversial material is not the scope of a critical essay. Now you are not going to create, or you are not going to talk about any controversy in your essay. Make sure that whatsoever you are writing in your critical essay is being supported by the proper references, proper quotes, proper arguments that can be helpful for the reader to understand. Because if you are going to start writing actively or negatively and being subjective, the essay will totally be your personal opinion about something, and people, they are not going to get convinced with your writing easily, because you are not a great writer yet. You are in a process of writing great things. If you are going to quote from different references being said by the great people, people will automatically think that if that person, if so and so person, the renowned speaker has said this, and the current writer has supported the argument in the same way, then he must be right in saying so. So to become one renowned figure, you are supposed to rely on the previous renowned figures who have passed away. Then there is another don't that you are supposed to do. Don't neglect the quality of writing and the quality of thought. Now you are not going to neglect the quality of writing and quality of thought in a way that good argument couched in a poor language or a poor argument phrased in an excellent style will not disguise lack of preparation. So if you are going to lack the quality in the writing or the quality of thought, definitely the reader of your critical essay would lead to think that you were not well prepared for your critical essay, and you have written that in the disguise. Now that we are done with the do's and don'ts, there are some common mistakes that people make while writing one critical essay. Following some handy tips ensure success to a careful writer. There is always the possibility of making mistakes, however. Now that you follow all the do's and don'ts, and then you follow all the steps for writing a critical essay, there is still a margin that you can create, or you can make some mistake. Of course, you will become good writers with the passage of time. If you stick to all of them, and then you try to if you stick to all the rules to be written, or if you stick to all the rules to be focused while writing one critical essay, only then you can become a good essay writer. So it is useful to use the checklist to avoid submitting a weak critical essay. So your checklist, your pre-writing checklist should be with you, as to make sure that all the ideas whatsoever you want to argue about in your critical essay should be welcomed first of all. Then they should be settled down, and then they should be departed by giving them the good farewell means that you are going to prove their quality or prove their standard one by one. Avoiding driving a point home too strongly. It is enough to support your claims with evidence without strong language and repetition. So avoid driving a point home too strongly, that you are dragging that point towards the end, but that point is not being supported well by yourself. An effective critical essay must appeal to the reader's sentiment. As I have said earlier, you should make your argument strong enough to appeal to the logic, to appeal to the emotion of your reader, but must not strike with emotion. Avoid making points that are mere opinions. Now you are going to, not make those points which are mere opinions. You should support all your arguments with the evidences, with the facts that have been said in the previous sayings. Make sure your language matches the argumentative style. Now that argumentative style, for doing that, never fall into the colloquial speech or slang, because if you are going to use the colloquial speech, that your essay will become conversational, and conversational essay is not one kind of critical essay. Do not omit direct quotes from the relevant text. Ensure all the references are up to date and relevant and to the subject of the theme. Using old books and sources is a sign of the negligent student. So try to make sure that you update, or you try to insert in that material into your critical essay that is up to date, or that is new, or that is fresh. Now the next point or the next common mistake that we usually make is that we use too many negative sentences. As I have said earlier, that critical essay is being misunderstood with only picking up the negative qualities. Avoid using too many negative sentences, because a critical essay can be just a positive or a negative or any other piece of writing. Analysis, interpretation and questioning need to be negative. So you are not going to make your complete essay a negative essay, because only your questioning, interpretation and your analysis is supposed to be negative, and then you try to prove it through different ways, and maybe they turn out to be something positive in the end. So you cannot write everything negative in the beginning of your essay, or you can take it along throughout your essay. Now, a well-written critical essay is the one where the writer has made a clear argument in flawless language, that is logical, that is has got the sound reasoning, and that investigates the attitude. Now, these are always seen by examiners as good foundations for a well-organized discussion about a set text. Now, keep in mind that once you are going to write one well-written critical essay, that should carry logic, sound reasoning, and it also should investigate the attitude of the style of the text that is in front of you, that you are going to critically evaluate. Now let's quickly see one example of a critical essay. Is it ever too late to study? The topic of today's example of critical essay is that is it ever too late to study, in which we will see that how the writer is convincing enough to convince the point, the main point, the question of the argument of the essay is that is it ever too late to study. Now let's begin with the introduction paragraph. I will tell you again that definitions, the headings are not there in your essays. I have written these definitions for your convenience, so you are not going to copy them while you are writing your while you are practicing your essays on your own. Now let's read the introduction paragraph. 97 years old. This is the age of oldest university graduating student in the world who has recently received a master's in clinical science, 76 years after attaining his first university degree. Now the topic of our essay is it ever too late to study? So we are going to see that how the writer has made the opening for that. Australian Alan Stott already has 4 degrees and is a qualified dentist, surgeon, lawyer and general practitioner. And it does not look like the man is going to stop at that. Some will probably say he is crazy and might have a point. However, as extreme as this example may seem, the question remains highly debatable. Is it ever too late to study? So for him, this studying too late in the age is not very bad, because he wanted to study, and people might call him crazy. This essay aims to investigate the issue and analyze possible obstacles that may come in the way of one's desire to study in the later stages in life. Now, the essay clearly talks about or tries to investigate the issue. What is the issue? That is it ever too late to study for those people, and it also will analyze the possible obstacles that may come in the way of one's desire to study in the later stages. So it's going to investigate, first of all, it's going to investigate the issue number 1, that is it ever too late to study. Then it is going to see the possible obstacles that can or that may occur on the way of those people who wish to study in the later stages in their life. So this is how the writer first of all gives a very evidentiary example. He provides a factual example and evidence where a 76 years old man wanted to do his degree graduation or who graduated in the whole world, and he was the oldest one. He had already done with his 4 degrees, but he still wanted to learn more, and we will see that how this desire has got some obstacles in our society. Now, to begin with, the writer describes studying. What is studying? Studying is one of the main tools used to get to know a variety of things, notions, and world around us in general. It is basic channel of perception of reality, which we otherwise would be able to understand, would be unable to understand. So, ignoring the opportunity to study would basically be equal to ignoring the whole world that surrounds us. So if you ignore your study, you ignore the whole world. Therefore, it stands perfectly to reason that furthering one's education after graduating from high school is a common tradition in American society. Now that the fact has been provided or the example of the American society has been provided, that it is a fact that after furthering, people want to further their education after graduating from high school is a very common tradition in American society, and one that is highly encouraged by the community too. Now, in our community, the older people, they are not very much encouraged to study. However, in America, the writer is giving the example of America, where the older people can take 4 or 5 degrees after taking or after attending their graduate school or after doing their high school. Now let's see the second paragraph of the supporting details, in which the writer clearly talks about the higher education in United States. Now, higher education in United States is viewed as a wise choice to invest in your future and gain an asset that will always be yours stronghold when climbing up the social ladder. Now, studying at the later stages in life in a United States is going to help you, because once you want to combine the ladder of moving with the society, that's going to be very, very beneficial for you, because holding so many information, study don't have anything to do with only one degree. It's about knowing whatsoever is going on in your society, as we have read in our paragraph number 1 of the supporting details, the writer as he explains. At the same time, college and university education in United States is extremely pricey. Now, college and university education is also very pricey in United States, and that's a fact. So many high school graduates simply do not have an opportunity to continue their education right away. So sometimes, since it is very pricey, so in United States, some of the people, they cannot afford to go to college or university. Therefore, when a person has already achieved something in life, is standing on both feet and knows exactly what it is they want to deepen their knowledge in, they have all the right to continue at the point they once stopped at. Now that you have everything that you wanted to achieve in your life, and you have done everything that is required to run a normal or daily life, by then you can or you will be in a position to further, maybe you can further your education if you desire to do that and become a university student. With the American education system being arguably a very flexible one, you do not even have to become a full-time student anymore to learn more about the things that interest you. So the flexible system of American culture or American university does not require you to sit a long time in the university and study. You can only sit down on those things which interest you. You can simply take a few courses at a certain university, pay the fees and attend the classes of your own purpose. Now if you are interested in arts, you can pay fees to the university and you can only sit in the arts classes. This is what the practice of America is. Sure, you will not receive a full-scale diploma for finishing a few courses, but if what you are looking for is the knowledge and the practical use, not the little piece of paper proving you are worthy of something, then this option is exactly the right fit for you. Now if you only wanted to if you were only interested in literature, studying literature or studying drama or studying arts or attending the fine arts classes, you can pay to the university and you can sit and you can attend different classes. Maybe you are not attending the other courses which were not optional but they were the compulsory. You will not be given that final degree of attending the university, but yes, your knowledge counts because you wanted to gather the information of fine arts, of literature, of drama, of novel, anything you were interested in. So this is how you have gained that information, and that is worth enough than the piece of paper that you get after attending a particular degree. Nevertheless, it is believed that after some point in life, it becomes too late for things like being a student. A student in the US is a certain social role that is closely associated with a lot of things other than the actual studying. Dorm life, campus activities, student parties, academic honors societies, dances, and many more. Choosing to be a student in many cases means that you are willing and able to take on the whole package. Now, your package of being a university student doesn't have to do with only studying. You have parties, you have dances. I'm particularly talking about the US culture. So you are not going to, if you are not interested in them, definitely that's not going to offer the full-fledged package for you. Or otherwise, you risk feeling an outcast and dropping out of school even if the classes are interesting and professors are great. Now, along with study in universities, in American culture, all of these things are coming as a package. If you are not going out on the ball parties or let's say out on dinners, or you are not freaking out with your friends, you are minused. So this minusness will omit you or will discard you from the actual culture of the university, and you might have to lose those good professors to whom with whom you wanted to continue your study. When you consider applying to a specific university after a certain age, when the above mentioned things become a lesser value to you, now that you were young and you wanted to go out with your friends, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, and you wanted to have fun, freak out, have fun and everything, now once you are in an age that these things don't matter to you, what would you do? When the above mentioned things become a lesser value to you, look at those institutions that are more flexible and do not require living on campus and fully engaging in the academic and non-academic sides of the university. Still, you have an option if you are not interested in some kind of packages being offered with study. You can look for those universities where staying at the campus full time is not required, and then you can enhance and you can further study or go on with your study. The fourth paragraph says, another thing that might get in the way of effective studying after a certain age is your capabilities. Sure, if you decided to finally or once or again become a student, it is implied that you have require desire to learn, listen and absorb the knowledge. Now that this is your personal choice why you wanted to become that student again. However, unfortunately, sometimes just the desire itself is not enough. It is a known fact that with age or memory, attention and ability to learn may decrease greatly. So studying may become a much bigger challenge than it could have been once when you were younger. At the same time, if you have the dedication, motivation and persistence to become a student at a later stage in life, I suppose these traits would greatly help you to achieve your aim as well. Now see the style of how writer is trying to convince his point that is it ever too late to study, by providing the evidences or by providing the factual information of, or by giving the example of United States, the ways of how study goes along in United States and how your mental caliber decreases in the older age. If you are still interested to study, you might not get good grades, and what are the interests and what are the obstacles that older people can receive while they want to read with youngsters and want to study with the youngsters. See, now let's try to see that how he has supported, as we have seen that how he has supported his argument of is it ever too late to study in his introduction, how he has floated the idea, and then he has in 4 paragraphs how he has on a very deep level how he has explained by providing the example of US, that how people in the older age can be interested to study and what kind of obstacles they can come across while studying in university with younger students. All in all, studying is a necessity rather than a privilege. So it should never be too late to study if a person really wants to. So it's a privilege, that's an honor, and the writer is of an opinion that it is never too late to study. There is no doubt that setting an expiration date on one's opportunity to learn and follow their dreams would be wrong. So despite all the analyzed obstacles that may possibly come in the way of studying, they should not become an impossible barrier in the path of one's self-actualization. So the writer ends here by saying that these barriers and these obstacles should not come in between your desire to become one or to discover yourself. So if you are interested to cut it down, what I have understood, that if you are interested to, or if you had a desire for studying something, to learn about something in your previous age, and you couldn't do that because of some kind of hurdles, you can still do it in the later stage once you are settled, and you can approach that very learning process, and you can reach that level of self-actualization. So that was all about today. Today we have talked about how to write a critical essay. We have thoroughly discussed that what is a critical essay. That's an examination, evaluation, interpretation of picking up the weak and strong qualities of any piece of art, any piece of literature, any piece of music, and so on and so forth. So any piece that you pick for critically evaluating, this is all about that. Then we have also discussed some steps for writing a critical essay, how to write the introduction, how to write the body parts, then how to write the conclusion. Then we have also discussed about some critical styles, claim and evidence style. Then we have also talked about the effective style, and in the end we have talked about the explorative style. Then there were some key points to remember, and of course some do's and don'ts that you are supposed to do and you are not supposed to do while writing a critical essay. Then we have also discussed some common mistakes people make while writing a critical essay that you are not going to do and you are not going to stick to them. You are going to avoid them thoroughly, and you are going to stick to all the rules that I have told you for writing a critical essay. Only in this way you can produce one good critical essay. Then we have discussed one example being written by someone in which the writer thoroughly discusses that how it is never too late to study, and how if you have that desire of studying, how we can in the later stage by studying can achieve that level of self-actualization. So that was all. You can see the list of references here from where the material was taken. That was all about the critical skills. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture, and I hope that you have learned how to write one critical essay. We are yet to go with so many other types of essays as we have discussed in our previous lectures. I will make sure that all of these lectures are related to your course. We will also discuss the literature essay, that how to write one, because I believe that you should know that how to write one literature essay, so that that's not a confusion for you once you want to pick up any piece of literature for writing. So that was all for today, and I wish you a very good luck for writing one critical essay. Pick up your copies, pick up your pens, pick up any piece of literature, any piece of art, or any piece of music that appeals to you and that you want to critically evaluate. So by the time you work on your assignments and you try to write down one critical essay, I sign off from here. I wish you a very good luck for writing, and I'll see you in the next class. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.